Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. So this morning when I woke up, first thing that popped to my mind was the word Sandalphon, Archangel Sandalphon. And he's been in the area uh, all morning. I was just going to do a message, but since we associate colors with him, I decided to do an ink blot instead. Or I should say I was guided to. When we look at him, he had an earthly, a human experience before he became an archangel. Can be thought of as a teacher in this aspect to help uh, help us through it. When we really look at archangels as a whole, I know a lot of people want to look at it as a very angelic presence, which it is, but they're pretty direct and straightforward when you know, we're looking at us in a very small human form. It is kind of stupid human. Why are you asking these questions? They're so advanced. When we have a much more nurturing experience, it is more or less our spirit guides or ancestors that are more comforting and nurturing. I'm not saying that they aren't. It's just they're to the point. Why can't you comprehend this kind of thing? So I was going to use some colors that we relate to him. So brown for earth, copper. This isn't really copper, but it's close to it. For more or less like the brass colors, you'll see in instruments, a lot of music is associated with him, maybe for messages as well. We have green for earth or heart. And then blue. Sometimes say this is the void or the separation, the sky in between earth and heaven. He's also known for delivering our prayers or our wishes, directly to God. So I will do an ink blot. We'll pull some cards and we'll see what happens. See you soon. All right, everybody, we're back. So first off, should be a picture up of what it looked like before I folded the paper, and then we'll show what came through. When Sandalphon came through in the very beginning, there was a song that came to my mind as well right after this morning. And this song popped up on my feed yesterday, and I was like, I normally don't watch things like this, but I figured it was a sign of some sort, so I'll listen to it. It's called Asshole. And it goes into, in the very beginning, it's about, you know, being successful in what's deemed as the American dream, I would say, and then still not being content, being bored, and doing things at the expense of others. Excuse me. And it got into, you know, getting in the fast lane but going extremely slow and holding everybody up, pissing on public toilet seats, and littering, inhaling horrible food. Uh, no one can do anything about it. No one does anything about it. So obviously, all those things I think we could all agree uh, doesn't make it a good human. Parking in handicapped spots was said as well. When you're not handicapped, the entitlement, this overwhelming entitlement, and the ink blot. I don't. I got a read on it a little bit, but I don't know how it ties into that song yet. I just thought I'd bring that up. And just pissing on toilet seats. Uh, that bothers me. When you go into a public restroom and you look at it and say, how could you miss this bad? How can you be this bad? What does your house look like? Is it like this? Is this pure fucking filth? Like it is. How could it be this bad? And that's just on a very small scale. And we can look at things much greater that emphasize this. So in the very beginning, I just lost this recording. Let me try to start it again here. 1 second. The very beginning, what stuck out to me, so obviously he was here on earth before he turned into an archangel. And he helps with learning lessons and whatnot, like helps us see what it is or whatnot. So here we can see, I'll try to turn it horizontally if I can, but like this is, we could look at this as the ground, a base, and then a tree here. We can see it's green, and the normal way the seasons work, obviously, leaves start out green, and then autumn comes, and then they turn this color, and then they turn brown, and then they fall to the ground. But, at that time, obviously we see the trees as dormant. And if we were young and we knew nothing, we would think the tree has died. But inside, we can see the water. There's still that conduit for that nutrients to be drawn up and, from the ground and, keeping the tree alive while it's dormant. Maybe we're in a dormant stage. We're in this standstill. Granted, it is winter where I live, and that I've experienced that a lot in life. When we hunker down, it's cold outside. It's not light as much outside. It's not as pleasant. There's not a lot of life out there. There's no flowers and nothing's blooming. The birds are still around. I did think we'd grab an angel number card since we're talking with Archangel here. So we'll grab one to go forward with. Make progress, becoming your higher self, taking steps, advance, breakthrough, personal growth. Making progress in the dormant state. Literally heard a message that I'll probably just emphasize on that the other day. That it's like, where you're going, but there's this standstill. And we can't just sit here and do nothing, we know something's coming. We know there's going to be a change, but to sit there and stare at the wall, we need to do something to pass the time. And during this period, we actually might learn something. Sandalphon coming through to help with a lesson. Grab a tarot card here. Disharmony. Temperance reversed. Of course, how could that not be? We're ready to move forward on something, and we're in this dormant stage. No different than the tree is. What could really go on here? There's a lot of moving pieces inside us. Forget what my word of the day was today, but obviously I talk a lot about the external and the internal. When we are internal, that's obviously a place of reflection, introspection, and growth. But if we can't see it, we don't think anything's taking place. If we're in this standstill, and when we're in this earthly experience, we have to see things. We have to tangible. It has to be tangible for us to, what's the word? For obviously to validate our experience, but for us to believe it. Seeing is believing. When really believing is seeing. When we're embodying this, in this dormant state, maybe we're losing hope, and that's creating some disharmony in our experience. That is tough to keep hanging on to when we're ready for a transition and like, hey, let's go. I'm ready. I've been here long enough. Well, clearly not. We haven't. Something's missed, and then that might create frustration. Like, well, let me figure it out quick so I can move forward, and maybe we're pushing it farther away. Just looking at the seasons, we can talk about Gus up in Punxsutawney about it's still winter time. Spring's not coming anytime sooner. I do see a little death inside here. If we want to relate the brown to death, kind of like the leaves, the change. It's almost like we were going somewhere. We were putting this energy. If we're looking at this as the aqueducts inside the tree to move the nutrients and the water to another place, it was close, then it fizzled out. Clouded judgment. Ace of Swords reversed. Maybe we were trying to fulfill a void somehow, and we moved out of fear, or fear to control something to create safety. is pretty natural. And maybe we jumped the gun because we didn't have the patience, or we were worried for our well-being, however that may look, whether physically, financially, or mentally. And then we found out we were taken care of. So we put a bunch of energy into something to try to protect us, make us feel safe, and we didn't have to. It fizzled out, or we ran towards something for the safety, and it obviously isn't fulfilling us. But just like that song, in the very beginning, how it goes into going after this, what everybody claims, the white picket fence philosophy. And I got it, and I'm still not content. It's not satisfying me. I did what makes everyone else look happy, and I'm not happy. The hermit reversed, yeah, we are in isolation, the dormant stage, and I've been there longer than I've liked to. But looking back, I don't remember. I mean, I remember it, but it doesn't hurt anymore. It's not bothering me because I'm not in it, And when we're in it, it's very trying. The resistance is so strong, and that's got to be the biggest clue. But we're striving. We're trying to fill these voids with something that obviously is a way to control, to force something to take place. And what just came to mind was sometimes destructive behaviors will do self-sabotage or self-destructive behaviors. And that sounds drastic, but it doesn't have to be. This is a way that we're trying to control something, to act like that we have a say in something that's going on. And this could be drastic, like cutting all of our hair off, or completely changing our look. Just be smaller, like quitting our job. I'm just done with this. And then we like self-induced ourselves into this, say we didn't have any savings, and we put ourselves in a position where now we're struggling. But during that struggle, we're going to learn something. Relationships ending, things like that, or going back to addictions, or binge drinking, or drugs, or whatever it may be, something to say we have a say in something. Yeah, well, yeah, that's why we're still here. The world reversed, unfinished. Something needs to be finished, and we're going to look into what this is. What needs to be finished here, Spirit? What is the collective missing to close out this cycle, to move forward, to get out of hermit stage? What is it? I'm drawn to this area here. And this little guy caught my eye earlier. It looks like connection. Overburdened, 10 of Swords. What are we overburdened by? Got some chills here. Our thoughts. Trying to make the connection. Trying to fill the void. To make it happen. We're trying so hard to get out of this place. We're the ones creating the resistance here. To make this bond, whatever that bond may be, whether metaphorically or tangibly, physically, pentacles, earthly matter. We are talking about the earth here with Sandalphon. Getting to a place that we want to be, something tangible. Maybe getting word excess came into my mind. Maybe we're a little short on cash, and we're trying to get back to a place of having excess where we don't have to worry as much anymore. Anything else on that? Fickle actions, Knight of Cups reversed. Just more reassurance. What can we do, Spirit? What can we do to allow this to come through? Partnership, the lovers. I wouldn't look at this as a relationship. Maybe it is. Maybe we need to be open our heart again. Maybe we built walls from past relationships that allow us to be unacceptable, and we're getting irritated that we can't find anyone. If we look at this more on a personal scale, to partner with yourself, if it's a mind fight, which most things are, a fight in our own mind of safety, release, control, where do we draw that line? When do we become unafraid? When do we trust in ourselves and spirit, however you look at it? Maybe we need to, excuse me, rebuild that partnership with spirit, that trust again, that said, hey, you got me through everything up to this point. And looking back, yeah, you really did have my back. Maybe I need to trust you once again through this. All right, Spirit. I'm kind of feeling like that's it, but we're gonna see one more card here. I saw my Spirit card in my mind. Eight of Cups. Spiritual growth. How can we have all this time in this hermit mode, which I like to think, obviously we're seeking truths in that space, but there's a lot of growth in there as well. And obviously, if we're in the earthly area, we're looking at growth as tangible things. We hardly ever look at our mind because we don't see it. Our boundaries, our beliefs, all of these things, we don't see it. Yes, it'll reflect eventually in the external, but when we look at growth, it's possessions, and that's not the way I see it. No one else will see that because everyone else is in that mindset for the most part. I shouldn't say everyone, but the majority looks at these things as growth. But spiritual growth, our connection to spirit, our trust, understanding these ebbs and flows of life are necessary for growth. And of course, being uncomfortable, we want to get out of that. We want to change it. How could we not? But it is winter time. The tree is going through its rebirth in spring. I'm not putting a time on it, but a lot of people are also talking about, what is it, the 17th, into the year of the horse. So take this time to reflect, and if we don't, it's still going to be there. We can't skip that step. It's there for a reason. No one likes to hear that I'm the one holding it up, but we're missing something. And it's trust. It is, we're creating the resistance through trying to fill this void, whatever it may be, and instead just letting it be and unfold naturally. So I'll leave it there. Wish you guys all the best, and take care.